tasks distributed. Okay,
I'm launching the stream right now.
why are you orange?
Because like my camera is not on and then there is a bug and whatever. I just woke up, honestly. Okay, we are live.
Okay, we can start letting people in. Yelena and Wendy.
Yes.
Yeah, also one
someone
thing.
pass me co-host?
Who asked for the co-host?
Me, Wendy.
Okay. Who should I give host to?
Give it to Hira so she can
But
start
she's at
recording.
work. Isn't she at work?
Or she won't be able to record. Okay, who's
Will
recording?
you be able to record here? She's at work, I think. Don't think she can. Who can record?
Mike, can you record?
Okay.
So I pass it the host. Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, we'll just take a coffee and come back really quick.
Please mute your microphone.
All right.
همون تصمیم بگیریم انتخاب کنیم چه
Ìwọ́n wà lọ ń ta síìmù jáde ńkọ́.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the meeting. We are starting with the roll call now. So, Yelena, you can take the floor.
Thank you. Okay, so I will start with the roll call right now. Please be ready. Remember, only one official delegate per association. Okay, we'll start with ASEPA Algeria. I for Argentina. NAPSA Australia. AFIP Austria. ISFA Benin. ISFA Benin. Are there any representatives from ISFA Benin? Okay. SAFPUM Bosnia and Herzegovina. CFAM-BF Burkina Faso. CAPSI Canada. CAP-UOB Democratic Republic of Congo. FECOF Costa Rica. CPSA Croatia. CPSA Croatia. CPSA. Okay. CCPSA Czech Republic. SOP Denmark. SOP Denmark. If there are no representatives from Denmark. EPSF Egypt. TUPS Estonia. TUPS Estonia. If there are no representatives from TUPS Estonia. FIPSA Finland. ANEP France. ANEP France. BPHD Germany. GPSA Ghana. HUPSA Hungary. MAPS India. MAPS India. ISMA Farsi Indonesia. IPSA Iran. IPSA Iran. IPST Iraq. APS Japan. JPSA Jordan. CAPSA Kenya. CAPSA Kenya. If there are no representatives from Kenya. KNIPS Republic of Korea. LPSA Lebanon. MyPSA Malaysia. AAP Mali. FEFAMEX Mexico. FEFAMEX Mexico. Are there any representatives from Mexico? Okay, thank you. BAPC Morocco. BAPC Morocco. Thank you. KMPSV the Netherlands. NZAPSO New Zealand. PANS Nigeria. PPHSF Pakistan. PPHSF Pakistan. APFIP Peru. PPSA Poland. APIF Portugal. QFIS Qatar. FASFA Romania. RPSA Rwanda. NAPSA Serbia. NAPSA Sierra Leone. NAPSA Sierra Leone. Any representatives from Sierra Leone? Okay. NUSPS Singapore. NUSPS Singapore. Thank you. SPSA Slovakia. SSFD Slovenia. SSFD Slovenia. Are there any representatives from Slovenia? FEF Spain, SNAP Sweden, ASEP Switzerland, TAPSA United Republic of Tanzania, TAPSA United Republic of Tanzania. Are there any representatives from Tanzania? PCAT Thailand, IFAT Togo, ATEP Tunisia, TPAYC Turkey, UPSA Uganda, BPSA United Kingdom, and APHA ASP United States, and ZPSA Zimbabwe. ZPSA Zimbabwe. Any representatives from Zimbabwe? Okay. We have 51 full members present and voting.
Okay, thank you. Can we update the number of voters on the system? And we have the next motion, or we? Okay, so do I have a proposer to resume the standing order? Proposed by IPF Portugal, seconded by Isma Farsi Indonesia. We'll now vote on this. Please do not write anything on the chat. All those against? Motion carried unanimously. We are now resuming the standing order. Before I go to the motion, I would like to explain the process about the second call. I'm sure that so many of you asked about this and sent messages. So I will give the floor to Agatha and Yelena to explain this to everyone. So Agatha or Yelena?
You want me to explain the voting procedure now, or?
No, just before we go to the motion of the president-elect, I would like to explanation about the second round call, as we now have the president position vacant.
Okay, so we discussed this, and we can, per official documents, open the call already, and we will open it today. And the deadline for this would be per official documents 2 days preceding, like midnight, no later than midnight, 2 days preceding the last session of G8, would be Sunday, the last session that said if needed, that's for the second round elections. And if there are any remaining, or if there are any positions that remain vacant today as well, we can also put this in the second call. For the rest that will happen on Friday, we would need to assess either to prolong the GA or to have a vote by correspondence. I hope that's clear. If you have any further questions, or if a motions committee wants to add something.
Thank you, Yelena. Agatha, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think it's covered. If anyone has any doubts, you can reach out. Thank you.
Okay, I hope the process is clear. So by today, we should have the call for the second round for president position, and in any case, any other position that might reopen. Okay, we can now proceed with the agenda item. Can we have the next election on the screen, please? So for the president-elect position, we received 2 applications, but one of the application dropped, and now we have one, which is Osama Madadi. Can I ask Luca to present the video?
to you all. My name is Osama and I am your candidate for the position of President-elect. I would like to thank the Assembly for this opportunity and to wish you all the best in these difficult times. I hope that you had the chance to check my nomination, qualification, and plans. Speaking of those, in support of my nomination, allow me to walk you through. Working at the core of the Federation, besides the President, comes with access to information and a complete view of the Federation from inside out. What would make me great for this position is my unique ability to deliver insightful and constructive input based on that, making sure that no detail is left behind. That's why I plan to concentrate my work under 3 main goals. First, making sure that resources are suitably distributed between different portfolios. Success stories are being duplicated, while mistakes or unsuccessful techniques are being avoided, especially when digitalizing our operation or further advancing our activities. Easier reporting, faster task delegation, fruitful follow-up, and user-friendly access to information. Second, I would like to invest more time and reasonable funding in the preparation of public and external events. It is important for IPSF image to be built around our opinions and views of the profession and the world. It is high time for people to know IPSF, recognize it, and consider it while working for causes related to pharmacy and public health. Third, I would put my time on the executive committee and my access to information to create an interactive team management environment, making sure that IPSF team human resources are being suitably used, so no one is feeling left out, and of course no one is feeling burnout. And empower the newly added categories of IPSF team with structural documentation and guidelines. So in summary, first, better use of resources. Second, enhanced exposure on the external. And third, optimized human resources, because there is no greater threat to a never-expanding family than being built on chaos, uncertainty, or confusion. People I worked with usually described me as the wise man. Well, unlike most wise men in movies or in popular culture, I'm not an elderly, I don't think so, and I'm not planning to lead a long life of meditation and solitude. I am here, I am competent, and I'm ready to serve. Just imagine for once, the leader is the wise man. The movies about this story won't be 3 hours long, but the journey would be a guaranteed success. To IPSF, viva la pharmacy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Luca. We have clarification from PPSA UK.
Sebastian, BPSA UK. Sorry to interrupt before the election starts, and I was meant to raise this last night, but would it be okay if we, in the interest of time, did not watch election videos before the election? As we believe that the delegates should be prepared and have watched this beforehand. Thank you.
Okay, this is totally up to the General Assembly. If the General Assembly feel more comfortable to just proceed directly with the discussion, we can do so. So can I get some reaction so I can assess this? Is the General Assembly comfortable with proceeding directly with the discussion without presenting the video? Okay, so this will be the case from the next election. I hope that's okay. For now, I open the floor for discussion. And if you have any point, please submit those through the Google form because we won't be able to keep track of the chat. If you send your point through the chat, it will be lost. Now I have LPSA Lebanon. Please take the floor.
Actually, my new comment was to ask Mr. a question. We can proceed.
Can you repeat your point, please?
I put a new comment to ask Mr. Osama a question. It's not only voting for the suggestion of Sebastian, right?
No. We're proceeding with the discussion on the election. So you can ask your question now.
Okay. Hadil Mdahle, LPSA Lebanon. So thank you, Mr. Osama, for your application. We'd like to wish you the best of luck. We witnessed a lot of efforts by the EXCO during this mandate to shed the light on policy and advocacy and increase regional involvement in this portfolio, but many MOs are still shying away from it. So what do you intend to do to boost the activity regarding this portfolio throughout IPSF? Thank you.
Okay, Osama, you have 1 minute to answer.
Can I have a clarification on that? I didn't hear the last part.
Sure, LPSA Lebanon, can you provide a clarification?
Yes, of course. So I was saying that we saw this mandate that the EXCO worked a lot to activate the policy and the advocacy. However, this portfolio is still weak in some associations. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you have in mind? What do you intend to do to activate this portfolio further in associations that are weak in it and through IPSF? I hope it's clear.
Thank you. It is much clearer. So for the policy and advocacy portfolio, it may differ from an association or a member organization to another. The way to really deliver a content that can be duplicated within each and every member organization is by first assessing the kind of the association itself. Some association or organization are not allowed to practice policy the same way IPSF does. So if we have mapped every association with their proper needs, and we can create for each some version of the policy work or the advocacy work that can be replicated in their own environment, that would make the task of implementing any advocacy or policy work much easier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anna Pons, do you still have your technical? And if so, can you please share it with us? What is your technical? Okay, good. So next we have PPHD Germany. Please take the floor.
Louis, PPHD Germany. Thank you for your application. I would like to ask a question about the availability on how much time do you will invest when you will be elected as a president-elect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, like every time, I am very much aware of the demands of this position and its future commitment if deemed trustworthy of the position of president. I am pretty much ready to meet the requirement and do even more. I have done that before with heavy schedules and the worst years of my pharmacy school. Now that I have the control over my life pretty much out of the faculty, I think I can handle much better and deliver a performance that would be much more present to the federation than I used to do in my 3 previous years within IPSF team. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Isma Farsi, Indonesia. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Osama, for your presentations. For Isma Farsi, Indonesia. So one of your main roles, according to official document, is progress monitoring of strategic plans, and I think like you also have put that. So what are your concrete plans to do the monitoring for regional chairs and EXCO in regards to this? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat the first part?
Okay, so one of your main roles, according to the official document, is progress monitoring of strategic plans. So what are your concrete plans to do the monitoring for regional chairs and EXCO in regards to this to improve? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, after the approval of our new strategic plan, unless amended, it is important to have a discussion early on or at the first meeting of the executive committee, and to set a certain priorities as per chairperson or regional office chairperson to distinguish something that are comfortable with and they are ready to deliver in a certain way in order for me not to be like invasive or harsh. So it is a collaborative work on assessing a certain kind of accountability system to follow up on things without being too invasive or too in considerant with their own priorities for the meeting and their own interpretation of the strategic plan. Thank you.
Okay, we have now KMPSV the Netherlands. Please take the floor.
Henrik KMPSV Netherlands. So thank you for your application. Regarding the coming mandate, it probably won't be easy because the COVID-19 is here to stay for a little while longer. So I wanted to ask, what plans or ideas do you have regarding the challenge and how will you overcome this? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, the COVID-19 crisis actually taught us many lessons. I tried to base my plans on these lessons and not focus solely on the COVID-19. We have faced before some outbreaks that made our events or activities restricted in different regions, but this year taught us that anything can happen globally. So I tried to highlight a different approach to doing different things in support to what has been already achieved in this mandate, like strengthening our online presence and trying to develop or investigate and try to channels to perform conferences or training activities in order to keep the same amount and preserve the quality, if not be able to increase it, since it comes with its own ups and downs, and there are lots of ups, thankfully. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We have APEF Portugal. Please take the floor.
Teresa of APEF Portugal. Thank you, Osama, for your application. Considering that this year we had 2 resignations from the executive committee and some members of the IPSF team didn't present their annual report, how do you plan to maintain these members of the team engaged and avoid inactive members in the team, ensuring that all portfolios are covered and monitored throughout the mandate? Thank you.
Well, one of the characteristic of this position is that it doesn't lead a certain specific team per se, but is free to interact and should assist with any other matters. So I'll try to make my time count and keep an eye on all activities. If I detect any kind of signals that a person is not available or susceptible to resignation, I would make the first approach to the people they are working with or the chairperson of their portfolio in order to see or predict a certain timeline, act on it to prevent any resignation if possible. But sometimes personal issues are not something that we can like present concrete solution or fast ones so we can preserve them in the team. The main goal would be not to be surprised in one resignation and to have a plan A and B for the replacements as quick as possible and detect any absence early on in the mandate.
Okay, time's
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you. Next, we have APEF Portugal.
Ines Colapef, Portugal. Thank you very much for your question, Osama. I just wanted to ask you to provide us with 1 minute speech or with a pitch presenting IPSF to a potential stakeholder. Thank you.
Before approaching any stakeholders, I believe the first part is to do our homework, like know who they are, what they do, and what they are interested in. And based on that, I will shape the introduction of IPSF to tackle each and every triggering or interest of theirs. So the basic information about IPSF are pretty much known. The challenge here is to present a case that is interesting to the other person, whether or not they are interested in the fact that we are a student-based organization or not. So it really depends on how well I do my homework before approaching any stakeholders. And based on that, I will formulate my speech.
Okay, thank you. Next, okay, we have clarification from EPSF Egypt. Okay, can we update? Can we update the list accordingly, please? Whoever is responsible of the parliamentarian system, please take the comment on the chat box. For now, I will give the floor to AFAP Austria.
Thank you. Marlene, AFAP Austria. Thank you, Osama, for your application. In the reports of the last mandate, we often read about communication and communication problems. How will you ensure that your communication with CPs within the team is always clear and for everyone understandable? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe each individual in a team will affect the dynamics of that team. I have a history and a reputation of a very communicative person, a very present person, and a very responsive person. So I believe I won't contribute in any way to any lack of communication. And if I am paying attention to the team and following up, as I have mentioned before, I would be like able to detect some of these inconsistencies in the communication and address them, if not all. And that's how I would planning to do, like try to spread and share an example of how we can contribute or be present and be proactive. Thank you.
Okay. APIF Portugal, you've been added to the direct list. Please take the floor.
Apologies, Ines Colapев, Portugal. So just bringing up the discussion again about the pitch. It's good to know that you are willing to do that work in advance and getting to know more about the companies and institutions that IPSF can partner. But I would really kindly ask you to provide us with a speech, considering, for example, that I am a corporate sponsor and that IPSF can have benefit from this corporate sponsor. Thank you.
Well, I would like, for example, have read about a former collaboration or an interest of theirs in their pro bono cases or pro bono activities and find similarities with our work. So I would approach them and introduce myself and define the federation, what it represents and how many students. Also, complement their work on the event I am interested in replicating and seek their pro bono sponsorship to address that point. Try to establish a solid first point and leave a good impression in order to return on that and have concrete communication with the means they feel comfortable with.
Takes to work in the world of the
Okay, please make sure you mute your microphone. APIF Portugal, can I get a confirmation if this is another direct? You have another direct? Okay, can we update the list, please? Still needs to be updated, I think. I think next on the list was EPSF Egypt, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, EPSF Egypt, you can take the floor.
Yumna Atif from EPSF Egypt. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Osama, for your nomination. And my question, how do you plan to make sure with the help of the IPSF Exco that the newly joined member organizations are actively involved in IPSF portfolios? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe within IPSF, we have already implemented ways of communication and ways to seek supervision for a different newly joined member organization. So the internal portfolio is equipped with a system to follow up on members and include them in a special attention group, if I may say. And same thing with the other major portfolio of ours, which is the student exchange program, where newly joined association are given also a special treatment in order to be able to be up to speed. I would join and collaborate with the executive committee on improving the current methods, of course, and deliver appropriate input whenever needed. And I would keep my traditional contribution into improving things and trying to enhance the outcome of each and every current method we are using to bring newly joined member organization up to speed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a new comment from APEF Portugal.
Inês Coelho, APEF Portugal. So I have another question for you, Osama. I would like to know what is, because this was already asked by BPhD, but I wanted to ask specifically, what is your availability for travel on behalf of the Federation for the next year? And also if you have already had any visa issues in the past. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you have checked my application, and I had a very much active traveling experience with IPSF. In my first mandate as executive committee, I have attended the executive meeting 1 in The Hague, Netherlands. And unfortunately, I couldn't attend the second executive meeting because of my exams. However, I attended the World Congress. So I would evaluate my traveling availability as very good, and it meets the requirement for the position elect position and for the future obligation of the president if re-elected. Thank you.
Okay, now we have Saf from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Please take the floor.
Vedran Saf from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thank you for your application. We would like to know, could you please name your 3 biggest weaknesses? Thank you.
Sorry, 3 biggest?
3 biggest weaknesses.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, 3 biggest weaknesses. Well, I think that the main weakness of mine would be my proficiency in Spanish language. My communication in Spanish is very basic, and for any communication in Spanish, I would really need assistance or translation, but I understand some words. Second weakness would be
Okay, time's up. Next we have Esmo Farsi, Indonesia. Please take the floor.
Okay, thank you, Osama. So we've seen some of the ways that you're trying to speak with the partners. However, I'm just wondering, since you have been in the federations for quite a long time as well, what could have been your strength from your experience that you have with the federation that you can elaborate further to support the external works of IPSF as president-elect in the future? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I do present a certain character with analytic abilities and a keen eye for details. I can see patterns in different circumstances, and I do a good research and background check on each and every potential engagement we may have. And I think with a collaboration with other external committee committee members and the chairperson, we can formulate a good and nice perspective for collaboration, which I have experience with back when I was RO for EMRO, which when I created our first prospective partnership documentation, which was received very well by the RA. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Ifsa Iran. Please take the floor.
Mahsa Iran. First, thank you for your application, Osama. I just want to ask you if the COVID-19 situation is going to be continued. What's your plan for having a good representative for the next FIP Congress, if it's going to be online? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we shall adapt to the condition of any kind of circumstances like we did this year in collaboration with the organization, organizing organization, and try to find the most suitable deal for our members to attend the virtual Congress if there were any, or any sort of other activities that has interest to our members. Communication is key, and especially with FIP, I think it's very fluent and it would be easy for me to pick up, as I had a previous experience with FIP, currently also a member. And being also engaged with the interested parties who are organizing any events would give us an upper hand to seek better deals for representation in, with our members and relevant portfolios in each event. Thank you.
Okay, now we have AFOP Austria. Please take the floor.
Marlene, AFOP Austria. Seeing as this year we will not have a president who has a previous mandate as president-elect and therefore might be less experienced, our question is, how exactly do you plan on working and collaborating with the new president in order to support him or her as much as possible? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I am familiar to both first seat leadership position and second seat leadership position. I have played the advisory and the assistant role many times before in the organization. And being immediate past chairperson with no voting rights or no weight in any kind of decision making actually prepared me to working with anyone with relatively maybe less experience or equal experience to mine, or even higher experience. So I think I would do a very nice job as the assistant and the advisory and the consultant of the president, whomever that person would be. I am very collaborative and I work with everyone, and that's the reputation I have built in IPSF, and I hope that you have received similar feedback from people who I worked with. Thank you.
Okay, we have Isma Farsi, Indonesia.
Thank you so much, Aya, for engagement for Indonesia. So, Osama, thank you for everything of your explanations before. I just would like to ask, how are you going to be involved in supporting regions as a president-elect to have equal growth and provide the needs of each regions? And it will be good if you can be more specific of what you want to focus and the real concrete strategy that we can also rely on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, as I mentioned in my application, I would like to ease the way for mutual experience sharing by standardizing or creating a familiar system between different regions. That's why I want to investigate how the structure of the subcommittee is being prepared in each and every member organization, regional office, and try to unify or familiarize everyone with that in order to be able to duplicate similar positions and identify how each and every regional office address their own goals or priorities in the region. So it would be with communication, investigation, and trying to unify the process so it can be duplicated when it's successful, or can be avoided when it's not as successful as it can be. Thank you.
Okay, next we have, okay, we have a direct from Noah from Sierra Leone. You can take the floor.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to ask a question. Sorry.
If it's not a direct, you please add your point to the new comment list. We will take your direct out.
Okay.
Now, I'd like to give. Yes, just please add your point to the form again, because we're still going with the new comment. There's some people behind you. All right, so now we have Sakum, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Please take the floor.
Vedran Sabun, Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is a technical with the parliamentarian system because we didn't raise this new point. So you can drop me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for anyone who sees their association on the list, and if you would like to drop, please write in the chat so we can delete your point. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. We have Isma Farsi, Indonesia.
Isma Farsi, Indonesia. Thank you, Aya and Osama. I would like to ask you, to be a good leader, it is necessary to be honest about admitting our downfalls during any works in the Federation and show us the concrete way to get back in sustaining your work with any condition or emergency situation. Could you let us know if you have such experience in the past and all of your mandates with the Federation and how you face them in that critical situation? Thank you.
Could you repeat the first part?
Oh yeah. So to be a good leader, it is necessary to be honest about admitting our downfalls during the work in the Federation and show us the concrete way to get back in sustaining your work with any condition or emergency situation. Could you let us know if you have such experience in all of your mandates with the Federation and how you face them in that critical situation?
Thank you so much. It is very much essential, of course, for the leadership of a team and also for the dynamic of the team to be, not to be scared to admit when doing something wrong. I can't recall any sort of specific incidents. However, I believe that I am very much open about when I do any mistakes and I try to fix it. I am quick at learning, and I do that very well with mistakes and with good deeds. I can present a solid and constructive way to do things better. I have done that before with my successor as the chairperson of Student Exchange. Her work was much better for the portfolio because my feedback was concrete about all the things I have missed and all the things that I couldn't do in my mandate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we have APF Portugal.
Beatriz, APF Portugal. Could you elaborate on the improvement that you have from the past year to this one, as you already have applied to this position before? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, on a personal level, I had my first year of real professional experience within my internship. So I have developed a very much more accurate awareness about the professional work of the pharmacy, and I have been engaged in new portfolios in the Federation I wasn't directly involved with in the past years. That is the Constitutional and the Policy Committee that I have been an active member of. I think I have enhanced my experience and my capacities in those two portfolios as well, which are very much essential to the position of the president-elect. I believe that I'm a better candidate than last year, and I hope that you can see that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Zapso, New Zealand, would you please state your procedure motion?
Yeah, in Zapso, New Zealand. So I just propose that we close the questions now and move on to the closed discussion. It's just been going on for a while now, and I think
All
we're all
right.
probably.
Okay, and I can see that it was seconded by NAPS Australia. We now need to vote on this. Please do not write anything else on the chat box. All those against? Closing the floor for discussion and proceeding to close discussion. Motion carried unanimously. We're now going to close the open discussion and proceed to the closed discussion. Can I ask Joao to make sure that Osama is in the breakout room and with accompanied by one of the team members?
Yeah, the breakout rooms were open.
Okay, can you add Osama and
Yeah, Osama and Usam were invited to enter. Okay, they are both there.
All right. If you're still